Hi. Well, it's this is the Chavis Shabbos Parshas Vayera, which is the Shabbos of the Akedah, one of the most pivotal occurrences in our history. We base a lot of our relationship with the Kadosh Baruch Hu on the schus, the merit of this unbelievable act of the Akedah. The Akedah was one of the nisyonot, the tests, as one would call it, as the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos, the Asar Nisyonis Asa Avraham Avinu, starting from Lech Lecha and going on. And this seems to be a major test. One would like to try to understand the test of the Akedah and the purpose of these nisyonot. The Rambam in Nevuchim in the third volume, chapter 24, points out that the purpose of nisyonot is not for God to verify or to know how far He can stretch you and then give you reward for the fact that you actually succeeded in this test. Rambam says that's terrible. God, first of all, knows what you can do. B, He's not just going to give you pain in order to get gain. Pain is only for this punishment. Why would God give me pain for gain? He doesn't seem to agree with that. That happens to be the approach of the Ramban. The Rambam writes that nisyonot are there for two major reasons. It's all actually one, if you put it together, is to let man and people know how great man can be. Many people don't realize their potential. They don't believe in themselves. Young boys learn, they don't realize that every idea they say may be something important. If they would, I remember as a child, I used to like every Havamina I had, Svara or something, I didn't know the Masechta, I was a little boy, I wrote each thing down. You know, when you learn 20 pages later, you suddenly realize your question was a Rashba. Your Svara makes sense with the Taisus 30 pages later. I was very thankful for the idea of a guy put in my mind to write down your Havaminas because suddenly they become real. If young people would only believe in their potential and believe they know there's something there, just let's see, I don't know enough yet, they would actually grow faster, they'd be happier. The Nisyonis are there to give you that sense, to show you can do it. And telling the world, look what people can do. So start believing yourselves and understand this is what it's about. Ram brings the Midrash that a potter was selling his pottery and he wanted to advertise his pottery. So he puts the pots out in the street and he knocks on them, knowing that they will survive the pressure and they won't crack. Wow, and people see, wow, this is really pressurized pottery and it still holds. This is where we're going to buy. This is what he says with nisyonot are. You're the pot. God's going to pressurize you for you to know or people to realize what you or people can attain and do. That's the idea of nisyonot. Ram says, what are the two unique points that we see from this nisayon of the Akedah? Well, first of all, he says, the idea that prophecy is something which is very clear to the prophet, and he has no doubt about it. It's clearer to him, or me, or at least as clear, as a direct dialogue between people. This fits with his opinion found in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah that except for Moshe Rabbeinu, no prophet heard God speaking. Rather, they saw a mashal v'chida, they saw some kind of a rhyme and riddle vision, v'pitaron chakuk b'libo, and subconsciously, through the discipline of nevuah, he would find out the explanation of this rhyme and riddle vision, found deeply embedded into his subconscious. And that would be the power of nevuah, to look in himself to find out what that riddle meant. Well, he says, one would think, well, maybe he's not accurate. And that the Rambam tells us that's what God did here. A man that loved his child, waited so long to have one, realizing that the whole legacy, this great revolution of monotheism may go down the tubes. But God said, I gave him to you, I want to give him back to me. He went without doubt, without question. He didn't say, well, maybe it meant something else. No. He went without question. There were so many reasons to question. He himself could question this. Is it really what God meant? Didn't God tell me that Yitzchak will be my seed forever? Yet here he tells me something. No, there was no question. He understood it clearly. This is to teach the world how man can actually understand and clearly know the will of God, not doubt himself. That's number one. And then he says the other thing we see that he taught Avraham Avinu, how much is he connected to God? He lived all his life in opposition of paganism, creating this great revolution of monotheism, realizing that it must go further, as every great revolution needs a certain consolidator to make it flourish, grow, and nurture it for the future. And that's why he wanted this great son. And this son learnt with him together until he was 36. He didn't go anywhere else. He only left out, he went Gola Limkom Torah to Shem Vayera only after the Akedah. Beforehand, this is a student of Avraham Avinu for 36 years. Wow. He did more than just Shana Bet, to say the least. And then God told him, slaughter him. For him that meant that this son, which is not just my child, he is the whole future of my legacy. God just told me, okay, it was a great experience, now it's going to be over. And yet, Kavash Rachamav Ma'albenim Yichido, he didn't care about himself. He was selfless in following the will of God. Teaches us how man can attain pure religious altruism, totally selfless when it comes to the will of God. So those are the two lessons the Akedah teaches us. God tells us, learn about your potential. Know that you can attain clarity in understanding the will of God. And you can attain altruism, pure selflessness, when it comes to living a religious life. It's telling us don't be religious because it's nice, it's good, it's a warm feeling. No, that's not your goal. Your goal is to do the truth because it is the truth, not because it's good for you. Because once you look for a religion which is good for you, you will start doubting whether a truth is really a truth. Rama writes in Hilchos Tshuva, Perik Yud, you know what the avodah of Oved Mi'ava is? Like Avraham Avinu? Oseh et ha'emet, mipnei shehu ha'emet. He does the truth. He does the true, clearly understood will of God, because that's what it is. Not because of anything else. Not because of Olam Hazeh. Not because of Olam Haba. Well, I wish you all a good Shabbos, and hope we should all be Zaychet to be Oved Hashem Mi'ava, and strive, at least to wish, to will, to want, to aspire. La'asot et ha'emet, mipnei shehu ha'emet. Have a great Shabbos.